This is The Truth, a series in which I play through games to find out what they're really like for a severely average gamer. And today we're heading to City 31 to set up a squad of elite peacekeepers. Aliens live side by side with humans and crime is out of control. It's our job to bring peace back to the city and take down those who seek insurrection. Because today, we find out the truth of XCOM Chimera Squad. So the events in this game take place 5 years after XCOM 2 War of the Chosen, which is one of my favourite games of all time. So I was really excited to jump in to a new XCOM game, and especially to see where they were taking the story with 5 years have passed from the last game. I'll also explain a few differences that they've made along the way, and how I feel that affects the game. You take control of a squad of characters, which ends up becoming 11 at most. And the cool thing about that is they're not all human. You get some alien characters in there as well. Now what's different from XCOM 2 is these characters are already created. They've got their own stories, their own character. And there's pros and cons to this. The pros is that they're all properly voice acted. They've actually got their own emotional backgrounds. You can relate to some of the characters and you can prefer some of them to others. And it gives you the ability to tell a more controlled story, which is great. But you're also losing a part of what I loved about XCOM 2 so much. The ability to create your own characters from scratch and name them and build your own characters. And having permadeath on those characters gives you those moments of gut-wrenching loss if someone that you've been working with a long time and levelling up suddenly dies in combat. I also like to name them after my friends, so then when they die, it's really sad. So you lose that sense of attachment to the characters that you've created in XCOM Chimera Squad, but you gain a more solid, structured relationship with the characters that they put into the game. My favourite thing about this game is how it progresses the XCOM universe. It's no longer just humans against aliens, a government being overthrown for the human underdogs to take back some control. Now we're in a world where it's culturally diverse and aliens mix with humans in their day-to-day life. Everything's on a much smaller scale. You essentially play as the police force of a city, and some new enemies have turned up. There are 3 main factions. There's the Grey Phoenix, a group of alien scavengers. There's the Progeny, who are all human and believe that the future is in psionics, and they'll do whatever it takes to make that happen. And then you've got the Sacred Coil, who are more of a religious group. Ex-Advent, preaching salvation to the elders that once invaded the planet. And what you're trying to discover is how these 3 factions have suddenly become more powerful and more dangerous. And they all have the aid of a mysterious benefactor, who I won't go into more detail about, because that's part of the mystery of the game. Another major difference from XCOM 2 is how each level plays out. Instead of taking your turns team by team, so you move everyone in your team, then the enemy moves everyone on their team, you swap individually, so one of your characters moves, one of the enemy characters moves. This helps restrict everything and bring it down and make it feel smaller, which really works, because that's the whole vibe of the game. And then you've got the breach system. Different units can have different abilities to help you breach at different points. You kick through the doors and you get a free shot on everyone, and if they've got the right abilities, they'll take a shot back. It's a good way to kick off the action quickly and keep the pace of the game going. Saying that, I do think I prefer the original team turn-based system, but as a spin-off style from the main series of XCOM, I think this is a great idea, and I would actually like to see some breach levels implemented into the next big XCOM game.
It's an attack on City Hall. That's all that matters. Chimera Squad, head out.
If you've played the XCOM games before, then you'll see a few familiar enemies, and most of those enemies have the same or similar abilities as you would have seen them with before. What you see less of is some of the larger enemies, things like sectoids, but they are still there and it holds them back to make them almost feel like boss fights, which I thought was quite cool. And because you have access to a whole host of new characters with new abilities, it all still feels fresh and new, even if you think you might know what the enemies are going to throw at you. So without further ado, let's get down to the scoring. XCOM Chimera Squad is a great entry into the XCOM franchise. It takes a different approach, smaller scale, faster battles than the previous games did, and introduces some new, really fun elements. Although I do prefer the classic turn-based style, where teams take their turns as opposed to individual units, I do think it would be a great addition to have some missions like this in the later XCOM games. So that's why XCOM Chimera Squad is officially 4 loot boxes good. 4 loot boxes, another solid game. Congratulations, well deserved. Thank you very much for watching, really appreciate it. Drop a comment below if you've got any games that you want me to check out, I'll play anything. And feel free to like and subscribe. Stay safe, peace.